What's up, cool kids? FD White. Welcome back to another edition of the Crypto Crunch. So today, stocks sold off the most in 5 years. It was a very red day. I think the Nasdaq closed close to 6%, S&P around 4, the Dow around 4. So this was very bad. This was sort of like 2020 when we got that huge sell-off in the market. So right now Bitcoin is holding up fairly well. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to look at the chart, but I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about why I think possibly a short-term bottom may be in. I don't want to be one of those moon boys or one of those people who always call bottoms, but after a sell-off like yesterday, I mean, can we continue to go down? The exhaustion of the selling has to be at its near its end. So what I want to do is I'm on Forbes right now. We'll talk about this stock market sell-off for a minute, because the Nasdaq and Bitcoin and the S&P have been very correlated in the past few months. This has been one of the most correlated times for Bitcoin in those two indices over the past few months. But today, as the stocks sold off, Bitcoin kind of held steady. So I'm very proud of that. I'm gonna keep mentioning that. I'm very proud of it. I'm not gonna get too happy yet, but I'm very proud of that. So I'm on Forbes.com. It says markets shudder at Trump's tariff. S&P has worst day in 5 years. Apple stock dives 9%. So it says across the board, stocks nosedived, and we all know this is coming off the back of the Trump Liberation Day yesterday, where he was just slapping these magical numbers with all, these concocted numbers, and slapping these tariffs on, I think, 180 plus countries. It says the blue chip Dow fell 4%, or 1,680 points. The S&P sank 4.8, and the Nasdaq, cratered 6% at close. And that makes Thursday the biggest point loss for the Dow since June of 2020, and the steepest daily percentage losses for the S&P and the Nasdaq since June and March of 2020, respectively, during the short-lived COVID-19 pandemic market crash. So I don't know. I wasn't like super well into the market yet. I got in after this. I got in after 2020. I got in after the crash. So I wasn't really like panicking, because I really didn't know what was going on. I started getting in a few weeks after, once the news lines or the headlines started to come in, and it started to intrigue me, and that's when I got in. So I wasn't really like in tune to the market when the COVID dump happened, but they're saying this is definitely up there with it. So the VIX spiked by more than 35%, its highest level since August, tallying one of its 10 biggest single-day increases in the last decade. So today was a very bad day for equities, a very bad day for the stock market. And I'm just leading it up, talking about stocks, talking about all these different indices and equities and things like that. I'm leading it up to say this. Bitcoin right now is sitting at 83K. It's sitting at 83K. So we talked about the correlation to the Nasdaq. We talked about the correlation to the S&P. With those falling so hard, usually I would say if the Nasdaq falls 5%, I would expect the Bitcoin to be down at least 10% on the day, at least. So we did get that sell-off right after Trump started his speech yesterday, his liberation speech, and then it just continued all through the night and then to market open. So I would have expected, we did get up to 88K, but I would have expected us to get a nicer, or not a nicer, terrible word to use, a worse or a deeper sell-off in Bitcoin, but we haven't done it. So right now, like I said, we're sitting around 83K, looking like we're holding 81,324 as support. So what I just looking at this, not really doing too much analysis. I don't want to go too super in depth, because I want to say that for the weekend video, because not too much has changed. Not too much is going to change until we start breaking key levels. What we're looking at right now is not levels to the upside per se. I'm really looking at levels to the downside, because we know what we need to break. We know we need to get back and out around that 90K area, that 93K area, get back into that huge range from about 93 to 106. Once we can get back in there, then we can breathe a little bit. We can have a sigh of relief a little bit. But right now it's just, we're kind of in no man's land. We're right above our previous low, around 67 or 76.5 or 77K. And we're sitting above support right now. We got a nice bounce off support off some Monday lows. We talked about this Monday low over and over and over again, and it came to fruition once twice, and then today again, we bounced right off of it. So now we have a little bit of resistance coming in at about 83.5. So tomorrow, if we can potentially get a bounce, well, even overnight during the Asia session, if we can potentially get some sort of a bounce here, then we can potentially hold this 83.5. We can make our way back up to this 86, 87K area, this area right here, where we have some horizontals and we have that downward sloping trend line from those lower highs from the top. So that's one scenario that I will be looking at. You know, I usually like to come with multiple scenarios. If we get rejected, I mean, we could just be looking possibly to just be ranging between 81.3 and 83.5. 81.3, 80. This will be an easy price action to trade. You know, easy price action to trade. We start getting above here, holding this as support, you're invalidated. You start coming down here, using this as resistance, you're invalidated. What you want to look at for this trade or for a trading scenario in this area, I need some new batteries for my mouse. To be looking for trade areas in this area. Here we go. So what I would be looking at, like, to be a little bit on the safer side. So if I wanted to short, you see this area here, we had this nice little double top. I would be looking for maybe something like this again, or, you know, something where we just come up and then come back down. So we'll come up and possibly get some of this liquidity up here at about 84K and then roll back over. So we'll be reclaiming, well, not really reclaiming, we'll be losing this level. So I love reclaim trading to the up and the downside. So like I said, we'll be trying to aim for this liquidity somewhere around this 84K. We have it here. We also have it here. So we could possibly come up, get rejected there, and then fall back into our range. This is where I will open a short, right back at that 83.5, ride it all the way back down to around 83 or 81.3 at our support. Secondly, if we started to do something different, or if we get rejected here overnight, and then we come in and let's delete that. Let's delete this. We can leave that. We can delete that. So secondly, what I would be looking for is just the opposite. If we come back, if we get rejected here, let's say we get rejected overnight, we come down, we start to lose this level here at about 81,300. Then we have to go back and let's see, okay, where do we come to now? Now we have some around 79.9 to 80K. We have a nice, formed a nice inverse head and shoulders here. We have the shoulder, the head, and then the shoulder, and we took off past that neckline. So I'll be looking for something possibly, you know, to come down here and touch this and then, you know, make our way back up if we could do something like that. We still on the longer time frame, on the higher time frames, we still are looking at lower highs. We've just been making lower highs ever since the high. So there's no reason to get bullish yet. There's no reason to get bullish yet. We've been making lower highs since this 109. Then we hit our head again at about 106, hit our head again at about 100, again at about 95, again at about 88, again at about 86. And now, I mean, we can possibly come up and hit our head at about 80, you know, 85 again, 85 and a half. But we're just going to continue into this lower high pattern that we've been in. So we do have actually, let's actually draw it out on another cleaner chart, because what I'm saying is, actually delete this. We can do it on here. Let's delete some of this. We are potentially coming to the apex of this symmetrical triangle. So we see this upward sloping trend line. This is the upward sloping trend line that we've been talking about ever since the beginning of 2023. And this is when I think this bull run officially started. Around September, October of 2023. We had a touch here, came here, came here. Now it looks like we might want to come down and retest again at about 76. So short-term price action is what I'm into right now. I'm not really looking for these longer-term moves, especially as long as the stock market is looking how it is. Like, we might get some short-term bounces in stocks. We might get some short-term bounces in crypto. We might even break this downtrend, you know, to make our way back up to some of these horizontal resistance levels. But we just been making lower highs ever since the middle of January. So it's really I'm really not getting too excited, not getting too happy until we start to break key levels at around 88, holding that, and then, you know, coming back into this huge range that we've been in, or that we were in starting at the beginning of November, once we got that huge run up after the election. So that's coming in at about 94, and then excuse me, top side coming in at about 106 to 106 and a half. Altcoins really quick before we get out of here. Bled a little bit. XRP did go beneath $2 for a hot second. Right now we're sitting at $2.05. Ethereum did shrink down to about 1,700. Right now we're sitting at 1,808. ADA is below that 70 cent area. We want to get back above there first and foremost. We're sitting at about 64.87 cent. SUI still hanging around at $2.22. Ondo did get in the 70s, the mid 70s for a minute. Right now we're sitting at 81.30. 0.8130 cent. AVAX still just hovering within its range, that $17 to $20 range, sitting at $18.11. Timecoin is sitting at $3.50. That's one I want to accumulate if we do go full bear. I really want to accumulate Timecoin. I'm really bullish on that long term. Near, I like Near as well. Sitting at $2.48. Dogecoin still hovering around that 16 cents. 16 cent has been very, very good support for Dogecoin, so we'll continue to see if that holds. Solana still bleeding. We lost that $125 area, sitting at $115. So those are just some of the ones that I'm looking at to trade if we do get bounces in Bitcoin. But until Bitcoin starts to reclaim some of these key levels, I'm not really getting too bullish on these altcoins. Not really trading altcoins. I'm scalping altcoins. That's really all I'm doing is scalping altcoins. I'm trading gold. That's one thing that I am trading, and we are trading or trying to get some good levels in for Bitcoin for longer term holds. And then sometimes we just buying Bitcoin because we don't care, because we know the price is going to go up and, eventually. A lot of these altcoins, we don't know, so that's why DCAing into altcoins right now is risky. So my plan, if you watched my video over the weekend, I was talking about, just DCAing into Bitcoin. And then once Bitcoin does start to reclaim some of these key levels, then we'll jump into some altcoins a little bit heavier, even if we miss the bottom, which is, a better risk to reward strategy in my opinion. So this is FD White. I appreciate everybody for watching. So we're going to do Monday through Thursday for the Crypto Crunch. We're not going to do Monday through Friday. Friday, I want to actually come and I might make some videos or might go live, but we're not going to do the Crypto Crunch. Crypto Crunch will be Monday through Thursday with the option of, making a video on Friday. I like to spend some time with my family on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. We'll eke out some videos. We're going to put videos out every day, but specifically for the Crypto Crunch, I'm not sure if we're going to put one out, but for sure, Monday through Thursday. We'll see you guys next Monday for the Crypto Crunch. I'll see you in a minute. Peace.